by all means, pick our brains and we'll see what we can do. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the day. I'll be popping on and off as the day goes on. And yeah, so just enjoy. And again, keep the questions coming if you guys have any. And I'll talk to you soon. Also, guys, I just want to hop on again. One thing I forgot to mention, we will be on the water today until 11 a.m. Central Time. So just so that you guys can kind of plan around viewing here for today. So yeah, enjoy. Hey guys, so it's just me chiming in again here. Now we're actually just getting into um, quite a large group of beluga here. Again, they seem to be feeding right now, so they're not paying a whole lot of attention to us. But as we kind of travel down the estuary here, um, for you guys watching the above water camera on our port side right now, coming up here, you're going to see quite a few beluga here feeding. Guys, as you're watching here on the above water camera, you also may be seeing quite a few babies as well. We're seeing quite a few babies here this morning. They are what looks to be newborns. So yeah, they're about 5 feet when they're born, just over 100 pounds. They are sticking with their mom and their family groups here now this morning. Again, I did mention, I think I mentioned earlier, that these beluga may be feeding on Caitlin right now. We've been seeing that quite a bit the last few days. Caitlin are just a small fish we have here in northern waters, and these whales kind of push them and corral them into shallow waters. And yeah, the feast is on then, I guess. I'm sure you guys listening on the hydrophone are probably hearing some pretty cool stuff. So I'm going to back out here. Good morning again, guys. I'm just checking in here with you. We do have quite a few beluga again on our port side, just kind of cruising along here. Again, as I mentioned earlier, they are heavily occupied right now with feeding, so they are coming to check us out from time to time, but we're trying not to. Of course, we don't want to interrupt them in any way. Just let them do their own thing, and if they want to check us out, they can. I did mention earlier that we're seeing quite a few babies this morning, which is pretty neat. And I did mention, of course, that they are with their moms and family group, but not necessarily always their moms either. A cool fact about belugas is that they do share responsibility of parenting amongst females, family members, and belugas are actually one of 6 mammals that experience menopause as they get older. So this is a pretty cool adaptation, I think. So it allows these older females, to no longer compete with these younger females to reproduce, and it gives them time to spend with these young females and kind of show them the ropes of motherhood, which is pretty neat. So when you do see them, a baby with another whale, then it's not always necessarily their mom, but most likely a family member for sure. So, guys, I hope you're enjoying the live feed so far. Seems like we're getting a little more action. We got some guys swimming up there now, actually, to say hello. Yeah, I just wanted to drop in here. I just went over to the comment section here, and I noticed some of the pictures you guys are putting up there. Some stills, which is pretty cool. A lot of the above water shots I saw in the comments there, you'll notice for viewers that don't know, you'll notice that these belugas don't have any dorsal fins at all. They actually have what is called a dorsal ridge, which is quite tough, but it's not a dorsal fin by no means. And that helps with heat retention here in these high Arctic waters when it's super cold, and helps keep them warm. And oh, I got a little baby here right next to me as I'm speaking. That's a good distraction, I guess. But yeah, and it also allows them to actually swim beneath the sea ice, and they can kind of hug right up against the underside of that sea ice and feed if they need to, and it protects them from predators as well, because orcas, of course, which is one of their main predators, with that big high dorsal fin, can't get in under the sea ice and get at them, which is also a pretty neat adaptation, I think. So, guys, I just wanted to jump on here. I'm actually checking out the comment section here, and I just saw a comment from Cajun Surfer there, and they said 50-degree water may seem warm to a whale, but it's not pool temperature for humans. Burr, and that's very true. You know, and the water gets obviously much colder, and as they move back up north, more into the Arctic, then it certainly gets extremely cold. And these whales, you know, they rely on that their blubber, you know, to keep them warm, and that thick skin and blubber, and their blubber can actually be up to 5 inches thick. So that really keeps them insulated and allows them to travel and live and thrive in these icy cold conditions. So yeah, Cajun Surfer, you're very right. I mean, we wouldn't even now in the summer we wouldn't survive in this water for very long at all if we were just out here kind of floating around. So it's pretty remarkable when you think about it, for sure. Great comment. Alrighty, guys. Welcome back. I'm just checking in here. We're having some great whale action. They are kind of just paralleling us, doing their own thing, but the occasional one is coming in to say hello. Again, keep your eyes on that underwater camera. There are quite a few babies zipping around here, so you may catch a glimpse. We have one. We have some whales nosing up here right now, actually. So I just wanted to introduce Courtney. Courtney is sitting beside me here on the Sea Canary, and she's up in Churchill from the Assiniboine Park Conservancy. And she's hi, Courtney. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. So, Courtney, I guess just tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing here in Churchill right now at this time.
Yeah, this time of year we're obviously up here for the best thing, beluga whales. So you guys are hopefully enjoying lots of great action on the above and below water cams. So we study lots of different aspects of beluga whales and have a really great partnership here with PBI and Explore.org to we take all this footage that you guys are seeing, especially the underwater footage, and what we do is we actually use that for a community science program called Beluga Bits. So if you've never heard of it before, it's on a platform called Zooniverse. And what you can do and what you guys can do maybe after the stream is come and check us out and join us. And what you get to do is actually help us classify all the images that we pull from this video footage that you're seeing now into our citizen science platform, and we ask you to help us classify it with a bunch of different questions. So it could be anything from what age classes do you see? So do you see babies? Do you see yearlings, juveniles, adults, everything in between? We might ask you to help identify the sex of the whale. So if they show us their underside, we can sex them a little bit easier. We call that beluga bits. Anything in between. We have a bunch of different workflows, and it kind of changes throughout the year depending on the question that we're asking. So right now I think we had a bit of a throwback to 2019. We resampled some of that video footage, and actually that's available for folks to classify. So that's online now. And then we're also starting a new workflow. Workflow is what we call the questions and what you guys help us with, called Pod Squad, which we're looking at trying to understand a little bit more about grouping behavior. So you can look at images and tell us what you see. Do you see one individual, multiple groups? Are they kind of moving together or separately? So that we can start to, piece apart kind of how belugas socialize in this estuary. And
that's some good points that you brought up there. And I just want to underline the importance of citizen science in this project and many marine-based and land-based projects right around the world. You're talking about, hundreds and hundreds of hours of footage, and if it's just your very small group, and if you were just relying on yourselves to have to go through this whole thing, it would just take forever, So, kudos to those people who jump in there and volunteer.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It would be a lot of work for us on our own, but it also gives, folks like you guys tuning in a really cool opportunity to not only just get to look at belugas forever, which is, to be honest, is pretty great. But it also really helps us to see things. It also, a lot of our community scientists actually see things sometimes that we miss, which is super helpful. So one of the things that we are trying to do with some of this is look at trying to identify individuals. So being able to see individuals year on year is really important for us to understand, is it the same individuals coming back to Churchill every year? How often? Gives us a better idea of kind of the numbers that we're seeing. Some of our community scientists actually... sorry, we just saw a seal. Everybody got very distracted.
There's a seal coming up.
It might come up on the on-deck cam in a minute, hopefully. So some of our community scientists actually recited some individuals for us that we had missed entirely. So it was sort of all community scientist led, it's been really, really great to see that happen.
That's really cool. It's great, when you have so many sets of eyes kind of going over the same data, and like you're saying, sometimes you miss things and somebody else picks it up. So that's great. Courtney, I'm going to take us over to the comment section here. There is a question I think that you may like to answer here from Tani, and Tani asked, "Can belugas control their bubbles, like blow bigger or smaller ones, or in a certain rhythm?"
Yeah, that's a great question. So we do see them blow bubbles sometimes on the cameras. And yeah, sometimes it looks a little bit funny when you're like, what am I looking at? As there's this big, shiny, round thing in front of the camera. So yeah, we think some of these bubbles are probably associated with communication. So maybe they're vocalizing in a certain way. It could be kind of a verbal, if you will, kind of cues, so different behaviors. Belugas will do lots of different kind of facial cues, if you will. I almost like to think of them as facial expressions, where they can change the shape of their melon, that really fatty, round part of their face. They can do what we call jaw claps, where they kind of open and close their jaw, almost, kind of chittering or kind of at another whale, which doesn't always have sound associated with it. Maybe just the sound of the jaw, but not an actual vocalization, truly. So I think they do have a capability of kind of blowing bubbles as they see fit. So sometimes they blow really big bubbles. Sometimes you'll just see kind of a little trail, or sometimes no bubbles at all. So that's a really great question. So they have, very good control over that blowhole and exhaling. So kind of like humans, if you imagine us blowing bubbles.
That was a really good question, actually. That's an interesting one for sure. So you also do, Courtney, you do some bear work here in Churchill as well at certain times?
Yeah, we're a pretty small team, so we don't, we do like to do a lot of stuff up here, but not able to do maybe as much as Polar Bears International does, but most recently we've been helping out with some partners around Churchill and around Western Hudson Bay to try to develop a fire risk management tool for polar bear dens. So those of you that aren't familiar with the Churchill area, just to our east we have Wapask National Park, which was particularly founded to support polar bear denning habitat, because we know there's a very high density of polar bear dens in that area. It's part of what makes Churchill so special. But obviously with climate change, we're starting to see more and more wildfires. And, if you're tuning in from Ontario, I hope everybody's staying safe and doing well. But it's obviously becoming more and more of a risk. And, in the north here, it's a very big area, and it's very expensive to fight fires. So trying to identify critical habitat, not only for polar bear dens, but also for maybe areas that we think are at higher risk of burns. And we do this by taking lots of satellite data. We take all of our information that we've gathered on locations of bear dens, and basically just kind of make a spatial map of critical habitat for those dens, overlaid with how dry an area is, to give to managers like our friends at Parks Canada, or potentially the province of Manitoba, or even other federal agencies or provincial agencies, to basically have a tool where they can say, okay, these are the highest areas of risk. Maybe we want to watch these, with our boots on the ground, and if these are areas that might be burning, maybe this is where we might want to fight fires to protect bear habitat. Obviously, we can't fight every fire, and fire is a natural part of the landscape, but, trying to manage it in such a way that we can protect bear habitat is pretty critical going forward.
Absolutely, Courtney. Yeah, that's a great point. You did mention, how remarkable Churchill is, and that's, I think it's pretty neat too as well, that these two different species. You have the beluga, you have the polar bear. Their plights are very different in some ways, but very similar in others. Especially their relation to sea ice and they both kind of meet here in Churchill, right at this estuary, which is pretty amazing. And yeah, so of course, we know that polar bears rely on that sea ice for their food and their reproductive cycle and things like that. And these guys, are the belugas are relying on that for protection and food as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. Sea ice is, we tend to think of sea ice as just a platform and, maybe kind of not biologically interesting or active in any way, but actually the sea ice actually really helps to kickstart productivity in these estuaries and in western Hudson Bay. So in the spring when the sea ice melts, there's actually a whole community of phytoplankton that specialize in sort of living within the sea ice but also underneath it. So as soon as that ice melts, it actually kickstarts, the spring bloom in the ocean, so to say, which wouldn't happen otherwise without that sea ice. So it would be much slower to get going than it would otherwise. So it really means that, as soon as sunlight's getting through to the ocean and that sea ice is starting to break apart, that kickstarts. And so you get huge aggregations of fish that feed, bigger fish and then feed the whales, and the whales and the seals will feed the polar bears, and so on and so forth. So that's one of the cool things I think about the Arctic, is that it's actually, people think of it, maybe you're sitting at home and you're thinking, oh, it's probably pretty lifeless and empty, but it's actually one of the most beautifully productive areas in the world.
Absolutely, it is extraordinary for sure. It's one of those places where you can I just feel like you can come and just see animals in their natural environment and behaving as they should be, and it's something that I certainly feel lucky to be able to do for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, and it's been a meeting place since time immemorial for Cree, Dene, Métis, and Inuit as well. Long before shipping and all the sort of modern human activity has been around. So not only for animals but also for people as well. So it's a pretty special place all around.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Courtney. We're going to thanks for chiming in there with us.
Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna go back to taking some above water photos, getting some 360s, and yeah, hopefully getting more belugas on the camera.
Awesome. All right, guys. We'll see you in a bit. Hey guys, I hope you're getting some good views there from the both the underwater cam and the above water cam. I know there's been quite a few that have been just kind of hanging out alongside of us and kind of traveling with us, checking us out. We're starting to see some playful behavior too now at the surface, which is neat. Seems like they're slowing down feeding for a little bit. They got their fill for the morning, I guess. Yeah, I just wanted to mention too. I know all you guys watching are certainly wildlife enthusiasts, and I know there's got to be some birders hanging out here on the live cam. So I just wanted to kind of describe to you what we're seeing here this morning. Certainly wouldn't be able to catch it on the cams, but we do have quite a few Arctic tern here. Kind of bombing around us here and there. They've been following the belugas all morning, and they'll pick up some of those capelin, that the belugas are missing and pushing to the surface. Capelin right now would be a big part of their diet. We've also saw quite a large group, I guess, of long-tailed ducks as well, which is the first long-tailed ducks I've seen in the estuary since I've got here. They no doubt would be were nesting in the area at some point, I would assume. We've seen eider ducks with some young in tow, which was pretty neat, and a Bonaparte gull as well, which was quite awesome. He came by and checked us out there for a while. So, but yeah, I'll keep you updated on the bird watching as well, because there are some great opportunities here to see some pretty cool things. So. Again, if you guys have any more questions, just pop them in the comment section and I'll get to them as soon as I can. So guys, keep watching that above water cam to the port side. There is a seal here. Looks to be a harbor seal to me, and he's just kind of cruising around here at the surface. He's been here for a while now. We've seen him a couple times, but he's no doubt snatching some capelin too for sure. And yeah, he's beautiful. Hey guys, I'm just looking at the comment section again here now. Cajun Surfer, you grabbed a still there, which is pretty neat, where you can see actually see you mentioned the ripples when they swim. You can see those rails on the underside of the beluga there, which is a great look at that. But yeah, those rails are actually fat storage, and it's believe that they can actually because of their lack of a dorsal fin, they can actually use these rails. They can manipulate them and shape them in certain ways and control their movements in the water and give them, a better control. Almost kind of like rudders, I guess you could say. But yeah, that's a pretty neat shot there.
Hello, Beluga buddies. So this is, we just had a question from Cajun Surfer. Thanks for typing that in the chat. So the question is: dolphins can't move their necks like belugas because their spines are fused, which is correct. Is that for speed and aerodynamics for the dolphin, or stability when they jump? That's a really good question. So we think perhaps that the species that have unfused necks, like beluga whales, narwhal, and things like river dolphins, maybe need that neck unfused because they're kind of navigating these like really sometimes dark and murky waters that require a little bit more searching using echolocation or hearing and sensing. As opposed to, say, like dolphins and other sort of more open ocean species that maybe can see things a little bit easier. But I don't know that many people have really looked into that in that specific hypothesis, but it definitely likely helps with stability. A lot of those species move really fast, and especially like baleen whales as well. Ones that are filter feeders do what we call ram feeding, or if you've ever seen images of it, they kind of swim very fast, open their mouths, and kind of have a lot of force on their head and neck. So I can't imagine that it doesn't help them in any way. But yeah, really great question, and it definitely gave us scratching our heads for a second to think about. So thanks for that.
Yeah, we were all just kind of sitting around staring at each other there for a minute. But yeah, that was a great question actually, and for sure that freedom to move the neck for the beluga aids in feeding too, for sure. You know, when they got to poke in places, and they got to get up under that sea ice and stuff too. Right?
Yeah, and you'll see sometimes we get a lot of questions too. This time of year, you'll see beluga with what we almost call it like a chapped lip. It almost looks like they kind of have like a little bit of a busted lip. And we think that has something to do with them feeding sometimes at the bottom. So maybe they're kind of searching among the rocks and kind of poking their heads and lips into maybe, kind of rough places might mean that they get sort of these chapped lips. So if you guys spot that on the camera, let us know. But yeah, they are very good at sort of searching and finding things. Right now, at least the last 2 days that we've been out on the beluga boat, it seems like they've been going after Caitlin on the incoming tide, which is luckily just in the water, so they're not having to kind of search around. But yeah, great question.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Courtney, for answering that for us and giving us some clarification. That was great. And again, guys, thanks for the comments. Thanks for jumping in there and getting us thinking here as well. We appreciate that. Keep an eye on the underwater cams and the above water cams, guys. We've got a lot of whales kind of hanging it all around us here, and quite a few babies again. And some of these whales have some pretty cool markings on their backs as well, some scarring and stuff. It's pretty neat to see. Pocks as well, so you'll probably see that on the cams. Alrighty, guys, I'm just jumping on the comments here again, see if anybody has any Any questions for us? And I do see that Cajun Surfer has a question there. Are belugas friendly or aggressive to humans in water? Not that there would be many in that chilly water. Yeah, belugas are actually very friendly, very curious. Um, I would even say nurturing by nature. They do certainly love to see humans, and especially like us, the boats. They love to come and check us out and say hello. Um, but there are regulations, marine regulations in place now, where you aren't actually allowed to swim with belugas. But to answer your question, friendly or aggressive, 100% friendly. Tani, I'm just seeing your comment. Getting their last glamour shots in before the tide changes. Exactly. That's exactly what they're doing. Hey, Buffykins. I just saw you. Just saw you said hey there.
Good morning, Beluga Buddies. So we have another question from Arctic Fox. Thanks for putting it in the chat. So the question is, has there been any studies done in belugas that are in captivity and in the wild? If so, are there any similarities regarding behavior? That's a really great question. Yeah, beluga whales that are in zoos and aquariums around the world have actually really helped us a lot with our understanding of beluga whales in the wild. So lots of our knowledge on things like how well beluga can hear, some studies into their health, and lots of other things have really contributed to our understanding that we wouldn't be able to get from wild belugas. With their behavior, actually, there was a paper that was published really recently where some of the amazing animal care staff at various aquariums actually started to observe that beluga whales were doing this weird kind of pushing of their melon. I think I was talking about this earlier today, where they kind of changed the shape of that squishy melon in different sort of conformations. And they decided to study this. They would film them kind of just interacting, not with, people around, not during a training session or anything like that. Just when the belugas were kind of interacting with each other, and they actually found out that this behavior was almost like a non-verbal communication behavior. So if you think about it more like, say, facial expressions, or, kind of if you're displeased with somebody, you give them a bit of a look or something like that, or maybe you have a bit of a playful smile or smirk to your buddy across the way. Perhaps it has something to do more with that. And this just came out, and we found it really interesting. And we started to look back at some of our video footage and our 360s, and we actually have observed some of our belugas here in Churchill doing those same behaviors. So kind of doing these melon pushes, like kind of squishing their melon in different ways, kind of flat. They'll kind of go flat. So, do that jaw clapping behavior. They'll do kind of all these other non-acoustic communication strategies. So that was something that kind of was uncovered and investigated in belugas in aquariums, but we see it here in the wild as well. And that's a really cool kind of connection between the two. So great question. Keep those coming. That was a fun one to think about. And yeah, thanks so much.
Just popping on here, guys, to just to let you know what we're seeing here, to give you a visual as well outside of the camera views. But we did have a long-tailed Jaeger here cruising around, and the Jaegers kind of chase the other birds, and see if they can get a free meal from them. They kind of steal the food of the other birds. They are parasitic, I guess, in that way. And yeah, so this Jaeger was chasing around this tern for quite a while, until the tern finally gave up and dropped his capelin, and the Jaeger went on his way. So yeah, all kinds of stuff happening around us here. Keep an eye out on our port side. There is that seal is still hanging around here. You can see him sometimes popping his head out. Definitely a harbor seal. Chasing capelin, no doubt. Hey, Tony, just seen your comment there. Best estimate on how many belugas are out there today? That's a good question. We've seen quite a few. I mean, I would say we're probably up in the mid hundreds for sure. What we've seen personally. Of course, there's no way of seeing what's in the whole estuary here, so there are quite a few. But yeah, I would say we've seen, I don't know, 400 or 500 whales here this morning for sure. Easy. Great question. Cajun Surfer with another great question. Does anything prey on adult belugas? I assume young can be at risk, but the adults. Yeah, that is actually a really good question. Orcas certainly prey on both young and adult belugas, so they would be one of the top predators, and of course polar bears as well. Polar bears aren't successful every time they hunt beluga, especially adult beluga for sure. But it does happen, and they certainly follow them along the leads in the ice sometimes, and some of these whales will actually get pinned up by ice, and there's only one small breathing hole, and the whales kind of have to gather there in order to breathe for a few days, and the polar bears will take advantage of that and try to get those belugas. So yeah, that's a great question. And of course, I should have mentioned, humans are a predator as well, of course, of adult belugas. Belugas are still used, for subsistence, for food, by some indigenous people, especially in the high north. So yeah, we can list humans there for sure. Hey, Arctic Fox. Just seeing your questions there. Is there a location there that you would not expect to see them, but they occasionally go? I can't think of anything right off the top of my head where they would go that we wouldn't expect them, because we do kind of expect them. Here in the estuary, they do go up the river quite a ways sometimes. Um, so that's all normal. But sometimes, um, you know, the unexpected part comes from their behavior. Sometimes they'll do something cool and they'll, stick their head out of the water, or they'll kind of spy hop, or some playful behavior which you may not be expecting, and that's always a treat. And you did mention as well that you did a tour of the aquarium in Chicago, and they were very affectionate. Yeah, which is for sure, a natural behavior for belugas as well. And you talked about their squishy melons. Yeah, you're right. Their melons are super squishy, and they can manipulate them to create different sounds, and it's always cool to see them kind of moving those melons and creating bubbles and sounds. And yeah, so that's a great point. Tani, great comment there. You learned so much about melons today. Is it kind of weird that you wish you had one too? Yeah, they could be pretty useful for sure. Did anybody on our underwater cam catch that that baby there hanging on his mom's, close to his mom's back there? Came up to the camera just to check us out. It's pretty neat. If you guys miss it, just keep your eye out here. She's in the area with that little one, so she may can't come back to say hello. Hey guys, I just hopped over to the comment section there, and I see you guys got some shots of that mom and baby there. That was pretty awesome. I know they are somewhat faint. The water clarity right now is kind of worsened on us a little bit, so it is a little difficult to see in detail. You know what I mean? But you guys got some great shots. I'm glad you saw it. Some of these babies that we see here too, you may notice that there's some folds on them. We call them fetal folds, and that's because they're they're brand new, and they've been curled up inside a mom before birth, of course, and they develop these folds, and they don't have that thick layer of blubber grown yet or acquired, so they kind of get these folds, and they kind of seem all wrinkly for a little bit. So yeah, if anybody's wondering about that. Okay, I just want to grab some last questions here that I see. One from Tani says, if babies don't have that layer of blubber yet, how do they stay warm? That's a really good question, actually. They do have a thinner layer of blubber at birth, and it actually generates some heat within itself, so it does keep them warm, but they don't have that, that super thick layer like, juveniles and adults would have now. Also, they are in relatively warmer waters, right? So that's one of the reasons why they come here to the Churchill Estuary to give birth, because the water is warmer here, and it does facilitate that birthing ground, and these calves can stay somewhat warm here and grow that blubber layer, and when they get a little bit bigger, they can kind of take off out of here with mom. Alrighty, guys, so that's the end of our time here on the water today, unfortunately. Of course, we are working the tides here, so we basically we had 3 hours today. Tomorrow we'll be back at you at 8 a.m. Central Time again until 11:30 a.m. Central Time tomorrow. So we do have an extra half hour tomorrow, which is great. More time with the whales. It's always a plus for sure. I want to thank you guys for tuning in and for all your questions. It's incredible, that you guys hang out with us and are so engaged. And I love all the questions, especially the ones that stump us. Those are the best ones. We always enjoy those. We can put our heads together and try to figure it out for you. So thank you for that. I want to thank our friends over at Frontiers North Adventures, of course. Explorer.org, thank you so much. You're the reason why we are here doing this, and you're bringing all this this information and live cams to the world. We appreciate everybody's work there. I also would like to again thank the Assiniboine Park Zoo guys that are on board here today. They answered some questions, and they were certainly engaged as well, and we appreciate their time. So yeah, tomorrow We will be back at you, like I said, at 8:30 a.m. or 8 a.m. Central, and yeah, so sleep on it tonight and fire your questions off, I guess, again in the morning. We should have a good day again tomorrow. So thanks again from me, signing off, and I'll see you guys in the morning. Thank you.